Look, it's absolutely alarming that there are areas of our towns and cities that don't even feel like England anymore. How did we get here? This isn't about diplomacy, niceties, or a game of political chess. It's about the very fabric of British identity being shredded in front of us. And yet, when you raise this issue, suddenly the conversation shifts to accusations of ulterior motives. That's the game, isn't it? A host thinks they can corner you with loaded questions, but when you've spent years in the trenches of public life, you don't just answer, you dominate. Nigel Farage proved this once again in a fiery live interview that left the audience stunned and the host scrambling for ground. What unfolded wasn't just an interview, it was a masterclass in dismantling pretentious narratives and flipping the script. The host began with a predictable angle, Farage's relationship with Donald Trump. The question wasn't subtle. It was a veiled attempt to frame him as a man more interested in American politics than British interests. But Farage didn't flinch. He didn't apologize. Instead, he met the question head-on, unapologetically defending his ties to Trump. He spoke of mutual respect, shared values, and the importance of a strong UK-US alliance. Without a good military relationship with America, we are in very big trouble, Farage declared, cutting through the noise with brutal clarity. The host, visibly rattled, struggled to regain control as Farage seized every opportunity to steer the conversation back to what mattered, British interests. What's particularly striking about Farage is his ability to turn accusations into weapons. When asked if his relationship with Trump was about personal ambition, about angling for a role as UK ambassador to Washington, Farage dismissed it outright, but not without making a larger point. No, 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 he said, with a smirk that spoke volumes. I'm not going to be the ambassador, even though Trump would love it. That's a gift of the incoming Labour government, isn't it? The jab was sharp, calculated, and effective. This wasn't a man on the defensive. This was a man in control. As the interview progressed, the host tried repeatedly to corner Farage, pivoting to broader topics like global leadership and the UK's role in international politics. But each time, Farage turned the tables. On China's naval ambitions? He criticized the lack of foresight and warned of the risks to Britain's sovereignty. On controversial military deals? He tore into the absence of international legal basis for such agreements, exposing the recklessness of current leadership. Every response was precise, every argument grounded in conviction. This wasn't about sound bites, it was about substance. Farage's composure under fire was remarkable. Lesser politicians might have faltered, resorting to platitudes or defensive rhetoric. But Farage thrives in these moments. He doesn't just answer questions, he rewrites the terms of the debate. When the host attempted to paint him as a controversial figure, Farage leaned into it. I try not to let these things keep me awake at night, he said, brushing off concerns about security threats with an air of defiance. Politics is a dangerous career, but it is what it is. It was a reminder that Farage isn't just a politician, he's a fighter. One of the most powerful moments came when Farage addressed the issue of authenticity in politics. There's something about this country right now, he said. People look at politicians, and they don't see leaders. They see actors. They see people rehearsing lines, dodging hard questions, and avoiding real issues. That's why they look at someone like me and think, at least he means what he says. The statement resonated because it was true. In an era where political discourse feels increasingly hollow, Farage's bluntness is a breath of fresh air. Social media exploded in the aftermath of the interview. Comments poured in, praising Farage's performance. Finally, a politician who speaks with purpose, one viewer wrote. Even those who disagreed with his politics couldn't deny the strength of his convictions. This wasn't just about winning a debate, it was about redefining what political leadership should look like. Farage wasn't there to play games. He was there to make a statement. The host, by contrast, seemed out of their depth. Every attempt to regain control only highlighted Farage's dominance. When they tried to press him on immigration, Farage didn't shy away. He called out the failures of successive governments, Tory and Labour alike, to address the issue. The perception that the Tories failed massively on this is absolutely correct, he said. But don't think Labour gets a free pass. They're just as complicit. It was a scathing indictment, delivered with the confidence of someone who knows the public is on his side. By the end of the interview, it was clear who had won. Farage didn't just answer the questions, he owned the conversation. He reminded viewers why he's been such a polarizing yet enduring figure in British politics. Love him or hate him, you can't ignore him. He's not afraid to tackle tough questions, to challenge the status quo, or to speak directly to the concerns of ordinary people. And that's precisely why he continues to resonate. This wasn't just an interview, it was a defining moment. Farage proved once again that he's not just a politician, he's a force to be reckoned with. As the dust settled and the headlines rolled in, one thing was clear: Farage isn't going anywhere. Whether you support him or despise him, you can't deny his impact. This is a man who knows how to lead, and is not backing down.